Erupts. The numbers are huge. President Trump was right all along. President Donald Trump said from the beginning that voter fraud was a rampant issue in the U.S. He said he'd investigate the issue, and the moment he said it, Democrats went wild. Obviously, this alone implied at the actualities. Not just was the left very much aware of the election fraud, but since it was to a great extent to support them, they needed to imagine it didn't exist. Yet, apparently consistently, we unearth more proof of evident voter fraud, and with each new report, Trump grins only somewhat more. Voter fraud is genuine, and maybe it's nothing unexpected to see the mind-boggling reports originating from Democrat-centric cities and towns. For example, there's the liberal haven known as Chicago, where Mayor Rahm Emanuel has effectively demonstrated he thinks much more about unlawful outsiders than American nationals. However, now we have hard proof of monstrous voter fraud in that city and encompassing ranges. Via Federalist Papers. The Chicago City Wire reports that more than 14,000 votes were cast in Chicago during the 2016 general election, and there were voters to cast them, based on separate figures released by the Chicago Board of Elections, the chairman of the Chicago Republican Party has reported. Chris Cleveland told the Chicago Wire that on a whim, he filed a Freedom of Information Act (FOIA) request with the board, which provided him with a list of 1,101,178 people who voted in the general election. An earlier post on the board's website said that 1,115,664 votes were cast. There should never be more votes than voters, Cleveland said. Every ballot cast should be recorded against a registered voter. That is a splendid insight. Would it say it isn't? How would you get a larger number of votes cast than enlisted voters? Basic voter fraud. To exacerbate the situation, Chicago isn't the main ward with this issue. Indeed, this is by all account not the only assortment of voter fraud, either. According to the director of Judicial Watch's Electoral Integrity Project, Robert Popper, there are 10 other states that have another kind of discrepancy in their voting rolls. The number of registered voters exceeds the number of voting-age citizens as determined by a review of the population data. Simply don't tell the forces that be in Chicago that another person has concocted another approach to fix the vote. Heads will move over the disappointment of the city's leaders to stay aware of and actualize the most recent developments in voter fraud. Regardless, this qualifies as a ludicrously tremendous issue and one that totally should be settled. Trump was right, and ideally, the number one issue that Cygnus's vote-based system will be dispensed with amid Trump's opportunity in office. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. The Federalist Papers Project. You won't believe what liberals want to confiscate without due process. Americans are shocked. All things considered, liberals need to take your guns. Yet, that is nothing unexpected, and no mystery. It's the manner by which they want to take those guns that are ensured to incense you. Certainty is, the government can take your guns now, in the event that they have a sufficient legitimate reason. It would require some time, obviously. A criminal complaint would need to be recorded, or a police report, and the case would advance through the courts, and in the event that you were found guilty of a genuine wrongdoing, you'd need to hand over your weapons. Which, confront it, is great, capable, law-abiding gun owners wouldn't be out committing crimes. In any case, consider the possibility that the government simply wanted to take those weapons while avoiding the courts totally. Indeed, the American Bar Association just proposed this very thing. What's more, they need the government to have the capacity to take your weapons, with no due procedure. Via Conservative Tribune. The American Bar Association just proved that it cares less about the rights of Americans than it cares about the liberal agenda on gun control. In a single move, ABA made an attempt to cut Second Amendment rights during its 2017 annual meeting. The ABA adopted a resolution to urge state, local, territorial and tribal governments to enforce statutes, rules, or regulations authorizing courts to issue gun restraining orders, including ex parte orders. We should inspect how this would function practically speaking. I don't like you. So I go to the police and say that you undermine my life. In the event that I have a sufficient paper trail, the police can take your weapons and your ammo. And afterward, they can keep you from passing a background check. Mind you, the greater part of this would be great. On the off chance that you truly made the danger. Be that as it may, consider the possibility that you didn't. There's a reason we have court systems, and due process, and a constitution. On the off chance that we dissolve these insurances, we gradually pulverize the American lifestyle. It begins with this. What's more, knowing how liberals work, it won't stop. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. HT Conservative Tribune. The silence is broken. Sarah Palin shares incredible news that she just received. This will make your day. Sarah Palin is giving the nation a reminder of precisely why Americans voted for Trump, and support him. He battles back. Thus does she. Truth is, the noteworthy wins that Republicans had on Election Day were an indication that America was prepared to push back, and push back hard. We're tired of being told we're racist, imbecilic, and gun nutty, all while we endeavor to shield the nation from dangers at home and abroad. What's more, not one Republican went to our safeguard, with the exception of Trump. What's more, Palin. So when the New York Times criticized Palin 2 months prior and pointed the finger at her for the shooting of Gabby Giffords, Palin hit back. We expected that. Be that as it may, we additionally expected that her claim against the New York Times would be tossed out of court. All things considered, it hasn't. An incredible inverse, actually. Since now the editorial's writer is being brought in to testify. Also, in the event that you know anything about these sorts of cases, well, that simply doesn't occur. Palin will win. Via Alan B. West. Bad news for the New York Times, but former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin just got some excellent news about her defamation lawsuit against the rag paper. The authors of the piece are ordered to testify in court. You may believe that testifying in court isn't a major ordeal for, well, a lawsuit. Also, for most sorts of suits, it's definitely not. Be that as it may, suits against journalists are different. This is a huge win for Palin because most people at this stage in this kind of lawsuit usually do not get testimony. This could provide a wealth of information for her legal team that will help her case. Fundamentally, it comes down to this: if the author of the NIT editorial knew that Gabby Giffords' shooting had nothing to do with Sarah Palin, the writer is in a bad position. You can't compose things that aren't valid for individuals that have done nothing incorrectly. All in all, the unavoidable issue is this: how does the judge decide if the writer knew he was composing BS? Basic, simply inquire as to whether he peruses his own particular paper. Since the New York Times itself was one of the papers that distributed stories that stated, unmistakably, Sarah Palin was not at fault for the shooting of Gabby Giffords. Which implies that this editorialist is either liable or only a loathsome reporter. Since he doesn't read his own paper. The future looks splendid for this lawsuit. Give them hellfire. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Alan B. West. Californian conservatives just dropped sledgehammer on Governor Jerry Brown. They find one loophole and liberals would prefer not to admit to one awkward truth. However, the numbers don't lie. Businessmen are shrewd, and generally more brilliant than the normal individual. Furthermore, business people are quite often conservative. In this manner, conservatives are by and large more intelligent. Crunch the numbers. In the event that it appears like an unimportant thing to call attention to, yet there's a reason. Today, conservatives in California battled for the conservation of their constitutional rights utilizing a loophole. And keeping in mind that you can contend that loopholes violate the spirit of the law, all you need, the truth of the matter is this: businessmen frequently live and die on loopholes. The most brilliant ones discover them and utilize them. So it's nothing unexpected that California gun owners just battled back against gun-grabbing liberals by utilizing loopholes in the state's ludicrous gun registration rules. What's more, the best part: presently a huge number of lawfully gotten guns are safe from huge government interruption. Nice attempt, libs. Via Breitbart. Firearm owners in California have discovered a way around the state's latest assault weapon ban, which requires the registration of AR-15s, with bullet buttons. Bullet buttons are a law-abiding Californians placed on their AR-15s to allow their rifle magazines to remain detachable, yet compliant with the state's last assault weapons ban. A bullet button is a button where the normal magazine release is located, but designed so that it can only be pressed in with a pressure from a sharp object, most commonly the point of a bullet. There's a moronic amusement being played by libs here, and in the event that you don't take after its very basic endeavor to ban guns. What's more, when that doesn't work, do your best to control them out of presence. The conservative counterpart to this stupid game is to just modify the guns, yet in a way that doesn't change any of the basic elements. Hence, the bullet buttons, an ideal approach to keep your detachable magazines. The issue, however, is the libs' best course of action: they set up a site to register bullet button magazines. Furthermore, this site tests substantially more profound than conservatives are all right with. The registration is seen by many as a trap to purge the owner, since they ask for very specific information about the acquisition of the original rifle that most owners do not have or remember. As a result, they guesstimate, as most would, but are potentially committing feuds. The conservative reaction? Bullet button owners have discovered a way around the registration process, an option by which they can mark their guns as a featureless firearm on the state's website. Liberal overregulation, meet conservative loophole. Checkmate. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Breitbart. Paul Ryan just abandoned President Trump. You won't believe what he said about Trump. It's exceptionally very much archived that House Speaker Paul Ryan is as yet a supporter of President Trump. Amid a conference call, Paul Ryan disclosed to Republicans that the accompanying "I'm not going to defend Donald Trump, not now, not in the future." As per the Wall Street Journal, House Speaker Paul Ryan criticized President Donald Trump after he exonerated Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Ryan's spokesperson Doug Andre said the speaker does not agree with the decision. Law enforcement officers have a special responsibility to respect the rights of everyone in the United States. We should not allow anyone to believe that responsibility is diminished by this pardon. Paul Ryan is a snake in the grass and is not completely behind Trump. It's a great opportunity to drain the swamp. We need Republicans that will back our elected president. Take a gander at what the GOP drove House of Representatives improved the situation the whole month of August. I'll give you an indication: nothing. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. HT Liberty Writers.